I know that everybody's super busy, and so I really appreciate this. I have been working on this for a while, and time to launch the baby. It is. So super excited. Put where you're from in the chat. Many of you have. And this is supposed to be informal. It's not a webinar because I want you to put in the chat if you have questions. And I can see just 6 of us. But anyway, if you have, raise your hand or whatever, and Bill will help you. So as introductions, I'm Connie Lund, and I started Fractional 2 years ago. And it's been a journey, but a good one. And I have a lot of experience before this in marketing, so I'm going to talk about that. The other person here is Bill Miller, and he is my assistant. If you come to coaching sessions, I have the marketing side. Bill has the business side. He wrote a book for CEOs. And so it's kind of a team effort at my house, but it's good. So anyway, and you'll hear more about that too. But so let's get this going. The purpose of being here is that I just have found a unique way to get clients on LinkedIn, and it's attract them. So it's 3 steps. So that's okay, Kent. Eat your lunch. It's all good. Finding clients. I have been talking to Fractionals over the last month, and challenges are real. When I started Fractional, I started talking to founders because I work with really early stage. So I had my own journey. But people, they've ran out of leads from their referrals. They start Fractional and they say, okay, well, I have some referrals and I start with those, but then what happens? And so some have tried lead generation services. I know that you guys are getting hit from all kinds of other services. I got that feedback. I understand, but mine is different and it's effective and it works. So some people have spent money on courses. Over the course of the winter, I tried a couple of courses, and then many of these courses are like 3 to 6 months, right? So it's a lot of time and they cost thousands of dollars. So of these, which one has been your challenge in terms of finding leads? Is there anything that you've tried, didn't work? Put it in the chat and we'll start with that. So on LinkedIn, and in the last 2 years, I've really dug in, is that every course, everybody gives the same suggestions. You should post 5 times a week. Some people say, let's post 2-3 times a day and let's comment for a few hours. Here's my 3-month program with a 4-figure price. And this is, so what you see there, notes is from someone's course. And she says, post 5 to 7 times a day or 5 to 7 days a week. Consistency is important. And then after 9 to 24 months, you'll have a personal brand that's an asset. Who in this room has 9 months to wait? Like that, Jason. Who has 3 months to wait? Anyway, we're going to talk about this so I tend to do things differently. Don't follow the instructions and you'll see what happens. So the better way, so I'm going to say this, you can attract qualified leads in LinkedIn without that 3-month run rate. And my approach, literally, I love it because post once a week. There's no reason to post content 5 days a week. In my case study, he hasn't posted content in a month and he's gotten 5 leads. So really, people, that you need a large following. You need to get to 10,000 followers. When I started 2 years ago, I had 3,200. I see people doing this with 1,000. It's not about those things. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And then the whole thing about copywriting. Oh, I'm a marketer, but please, no copyright. Seriously, I don't like that word. So Jeff says all of them. I know it's hard to find leads. Got it. So I have a 30-day myth-busting challenge. We're going to take this on. And that's kind of my attitude. They say, this is how you do it. And I just go do my own thing. So I want to back up and give you my experience and my background, because this is formed what happened. I was posting back in 2006 in forums about software for people who have digital cameras, which was everybody at the time, how to organize the photos. And I had a real job. I had a really traditional job of being a librarian for 10 years. And so got a DM one day and the guy said, "Hey, Connie, how in the hell are you using our software? What are you doing with it?" And then he also said, "Do you want to become do tutorials or something like that, do an engagement with us?" So I said yes. I left my traditional job. My ex-husband went bananas. He's like, "What are you doing?" But I mean, it was a life changer. So then for 2 years, I was there. I was working for a small software company out of Victoria, BC, like Vancouver Island. It was a 13-hour commute from Minnesota because it was way up there, but I started remote then too. So I've been working remotely all the way through. And then in 2008, I was on Twitter and I received 2 job offers. That's where the founder asked me to help him to take a startup to market. We went to acquisition. I kind of met Bill there. He had community. I was doing community stuff. And that's worked. We've been together like 14 years. So it's done really well. And then I was recognized as a thought leader for social media. And so I was invited to speak at industry events in 7 countries. So this whole brand building, sharing your message, repeating it, it works. I've done it. And then in 2011, my network helped me get into Dell. And I led community platforms there with 150,000 people. And then I had the team that did the LinkedIn community page at Dell. And I was also working on activation of employees in the social networks. So Dell had a big thing about social business. And so I was giving them the tool and helping train them to get out and be active. And then you see this big gap, 2011 to 2023. It's like, what were you doing for 12 years? It's a great question. I was building other people's brands. I was an employee and I was working. And there's one mistake that I regret is that I did not invest in my own personal brand. And Jeremiah Owyang, he's from San Francisco, 2008, he said over and over, every day take a half hour, invest in yourself and build your following and do that. So you've all heard it by now about the personal branding, but I didn't do it. So when I came to do Fractional, I didn't have that big network. But you can see what I did for my companies. So Dell's LinkedIn company page has 5 million followers. The last 2 brands that I worked at, very small startups, Techolution has 356,000 followers. And TestRigger, in 2022, I worked there, 59,000 followers. My strategy for them was 1 posting per week. That's it. It's the same as now, 1 posting per week. And that's why I use that. Hit a tipping point, and that's what happens in networking, where they just take on a life of their own. Both of these had times when no one was there because Connie left and there was no one there. They just keep accumulating. So that's where my time and energy went. And so in 2023 or 2023, I decided to build my own fractional business. My network, I mean, I didn't really help me when I needed jobs either. So, but I didn't get any leads from my network. I joined Pavilion. That's where I met Jason, United. But really, my clients came to me on LinkedIn because I was networking. And so the founders would meeting, right? And it was a surprise to me. And then I would go to the meeting and we'd talk about it. And then others would ask to connect. And I'd say, how can I help you? And then they would ask, whatever it was and ask for a meeting. So all of my clients have come to me on LinkedIn. And then in the spring, in April, I was sick so I do weird things, but I found a weird virus. And I wasn't able to work for 6 weeks. I was offline. Devices made me sick. Screens, it was awful. So I lost a couple of clients. And I decided to just commit to this, focus on this. So I've been saving I have 2 clients, 20 hours a week, and I have the rest of my time I've been working on this because I really believe I can help you find clients, help you attract clients, really. So let's do this. How do I do this? I'm going to show you how this works. But I mentioned community. So you can act like a community manager. And if you guys haven't heard of that, it's a subject matter expert who educates and advocates for a service or product. So you go to networking events and LinkedIn, on LinkedIn posts and go to groups and participate. And engagement is the secret sauce. It's how you build word of mouth. It's how your word out. And there's the last thing that it's a little bit of a mindset shift because especially if you're a marketer, I had a guy last night that told me, we're going to have to buy a whole bunch of keywords. This isn't about sending a bunch of emails and then getting 10 leads. There's serendipity around the web. Like when you get a meeting request, it's like magic and that never ends. Like just amazing. Then I get them on a call and I can close them in 30 minutes to do a 5-figure retainer from month to month. I'm not a salesperson either, but that's the exciting thing. So if you have your offer, so my call consists of 10 minutes, them talking about their problem, 10 minutes talking about how I can help them, if I can get them to ask the price, then that last 10 minutes is about the terms. How are we going to do this? They come in warm because it's their idea. So you are the captain of your own brand. And to be honest, hiring an agency is very difficult for even a small company, a small startup. That's how I've gotten most of my jobs is because it's failed. But you can do this and you're the best person to do this. It's not good to outsource. So a friend of mine got on a call last week and he's like, what are you doing? I see you everywhere. This is a signal that I've reached a level. So at Test Trigger, the salespeople would get comments like, hey, we see you guys everywhere. And that's what's happening is that LinkedIn favors. So let's say I post a piece of content, I'm doing DMs with people. Then when I publish again, it's going to put that in front of those people I've been DMing. It's the way they operate. So you can use that to your advantage. All right. So this is a question for you. Let's say you have a storefront and you put a sign in the window that says, hey, I offer these services. I offer services. Or you have a billboard on a interstate highway. There was a little video there. So put in the chat, which would be better to have that storefront? I mean, trick question, or the billboard, because it's the key to why this works. All right. So whenever I'm doing anything in social, in the networks, I'm always thinking, why did this work? And so, thank you, Chris. So when, yeah, storefront works too. Storefront can work if you do advertising and marketing and get people in there. Totally true. Jason's tricky. Depends on your ICP. All right. So what I do when this is happening, I'm like, what does this work? And I try to figure it out. So here you go. So leaders have pains, whether they're 0 to 1 million early stage startup or a leader in a larger organization up to 100 million, a billion, whatever. We all have pains, but they have pains and they join networks to learn. They might join a private network like Pavilion. They are in LinkedIn. But what's happened to LinkedIn is that so many people reading. So if you think about this, your brand is kind of like a storefront. And if you post, well, you can post 5 days a week. Let's just say you're posting 5 days a week. Who's reading it? Like, that's the challenge. I know if they've come to the session, but there's one person that has a really large following of like 30,000 people. And so if they're getting leads, not getting leads off of your profile, think about this. So this influencer, for example, almost all of my meetings and leads have come from a person who has 270,000 followers. They are posting every day. And so these people are reading, they're looking for solutions, and then they see my piece of engagement, my contribution, and they're like, this person knows how to do this. And they're inspired by that. They will look at my profile and they'll say, I need to talk to this person. And so they'll my profile, credibility, trust, they're good. They will literally use that calendar link and book a meeting. And sometimes I have a question that they'll tell me what it's for, or they'll send me a DM, but that's what happens. When they get on the call, it's their idea. I mean, I've done cold calls, right? You get a cold call and you get them to pick up. I know, see, I'm smiling there. You get them on the phone and they're like, who? They're back at, who are you? What company are you with? And you're telling them all about whatever wonderful service you have. I want to sell you windows. And then I'm always like, well, I live in a townhouse with an HOA. Sorry. Like, the thing is it's a clash. But in this case, it's their idea and they want to meet, every one of them wants to meet as soon as possible. So for example, last Labor Day, I had made a comment and it was a firestorm. There was like people are asking questions, trying to vet me, saying, hey, really, really, Connie, you do that? And then I ended up with 2 weeks, literally like 10 calls. It's great. Like, that's how I want to do my own marketing, because when they get on the phone, they're excited about it. And they have a problem that they want solved. So I'm going to pause there and let you ask questions, because this is completely different than I think most people are taught. Yeah, so Bill's taught. So somebody, like over this month when I've been, reaching out to fractionals, this one person says, well, what about the big glut of fractionals that are out there? And how are you, competing with people? Aren't you worried? So when I apply for jobs, remote job, and I was competing with like 1,500 people, just the same as now, but before COVID. And so I don't know, I just have to do my own thing. Mine was data driven. So I got the feedback from Techolution and Test Trigger that I was data driven. That talking examples with data. That's how I got those jobs. In this case, I have completely tuned out all the noise. I don't about it. And what's great is when you get somebody booking a call with you, they are not going out to look at other services, other fractionals. Maybe they do, but I don't hear about it. And so it's like no competition. They look on your concept and they want to have the call. So questions on this. Is it weird? It's not weird, it's odd. Like, it's just different. I'm from Minnesota, so it's okay. But these things happen.
Hey, Connie, can I ask a question?
That's Jason.
So, thinking about like the network, what do you go about identifying either the groups and or the posts to really engaging with other people?
Yeah. So our system, which is part of this, but so the one challenge is to find these people. You have to have a paid version of LinkedIn. So I will do searches for people. So because I have the paid version, so when I do a search, and that's a whole thing in itself too, but you can search and find the larger, you need a large network and they need to be posting frequently. And so, but there are people, so if you're working in SaaS, software as a service, and you're working in between that 0 to 100 million, I have some really good fishing holes. So I have a video that, how fishing in the lake, sometimes you catch stuff and sometimes you don't. But when I was young in northern Minnesota, we went to a trout pond. You put a piece of corn on the hook, you throw it in there, whoop, you catch a fish, and that's how it is. And so, Jason, that corn is you can't just write awesome or great. You need to give more information. And I have structure for it. And you just need to essentially, when you do a quick study, then that's the type of thing where, that you comment about, hey, we're in a similar situation, and putting around that. Does that make sense? Does it sound weird?
No, I think sense. I think the challenge is just finding those people that have the
Yeah. So they're there. Like, so case study. So Piazza, do you know him, Jason? You know him. He posted in Pavilion last June. He said, I'd love to hear from anyone who gets prospects lined up at their doors. I clearly have a lot to learn from them. And I think he was being tongue in cheek, right? Like sarcasm. It's okay. But Connie goes and collects these people because I'm trying to help people. And he wanted the direct path. Like he had agencies and he had spent thousands of dollars, but the meetings, they set meetings for him, but they weren't his target audience and they didn't have a pain point. Like it wasn't for him. So they weren't qualified. So I met with him in early July and I said, Remy, I have this 3-month program. And he's like, because everybody's 3-month programs. So I said, okay. I challenged myself. I said, okay, how can I help you in 30 days to get one meeting? Like that was my guarantee. And so when I was on vacation in northern Minnesota, he's like, hey, I am now up to 5 meetings. He's got 5. And your stuff really works, Connie. Thank you. You've given me hope and reinvigorated my business, me and my business. And he's taken my ideas, concepts, applied them to offline networking too. So he's in New York City and he can have, he's got a lot of people there. So that's exciting to me. This is what I'm all about. And I will help you with taking your offer, putting it into that construct, helping you find people. And I mean, Remy was like, Remy, here's a post. And then he's like, it was like 10 in the morning. It wasn't terribly early. It was like 10 or 11. And then he's like, thanks. And we started, chatting a little bit, but yeah, it's okay. I'm kind of always on. It's okay. So this is that I can give you a system with a phased approach. And it's lead generation first and then brand building. When I sell my marketing services, I'm talking to small startups, early stage, and they've had an agency or they've had a junior person in that it didn't work and they need leads. They need to grow their business. So I tell them I will give you effective, efficient path to get results as soon as possible with right price tools. And in this case, same thing, right price tools is because there's so much there now. And AI isn't necessarily the answer. So the 30-day challenge is the first part. I call it inbound in LinkedIn. Okay. Inbound meaning come into you. The 3 steps are 1, optimize that LinkedIn profile, meaning there's a bunch banner, headline, about section, featured. Get that all ready because that's your trust and credibility. That's your website landing page. So that needs to be taken care of. Your messaging, like help offers, Bill can too. And so the offer piece, if you're just starting in fractional, you kind of have to do some product market fit, meaning talk to people and see what they want and try to get involved. But that's just a part of building your own business anyway. And then where? Jason, to your where to network. So help you find that. I was a librarian, I said. I'm good at search. Like that's my thing. And says, thanks, premium. Yeah, this is LinkedIn. That's what they're making their money on. It's not that expensive. So anyway, thing is, let's do this in 30 days. Let's focus on leads first. Then this system that I sort of created that there's inbound and then there's outbound in LinkedIn. And so many of you I've connected with, in fact, most of you, through outbound, right? So there's 3 ways you can use your own. The first thing I did was take my own network I had about 4,200 and I separated out in Sales Navigator. It's really easy to filter. So Sales Navigator is another cost, but it's less than 100 a month. So it's not impossible. Used to be more. So there's that, your network. Who can you reach out to your own network? And I got some fun networking calls out of that, right? Like, let's catch up. The next level is sending a connection request, and those are limited. And then you can send in-mails. So those are the 3. And so I can help you with cold outreach, building that sales funnel, although to be honest, it's the messaging that goes out cold and then they look at your profile, make a decision. And then the tools, there's a couple of ways. So I had a huge aversion to just like copy paste sending out these cold messages. So I have like a VA, so I can offer that if you don't have that brain power to sit and copy paste over and over every day. Like it's mind numbing, by the way. Or we can there's automation tools like Dripify, Expandy, that also work really well. And then the third part is this is where everybody says to start. But honestly, I believe that if you're needing money, you need clients, it's really hard to say, okay, well, I'm going to my brand and create content and hope to get something in. So I'm focused on let's get started with inbound and outbound first. And then I have a great AI process for content that makes unique content, templates, and how it started there. After you get your clients going. If you don't want to do this third section, that's fine. So this will future-proof your business. And when I say that, I mean that if you know how to fish, that's my goal, to teach you how to fish. In the future, you can continue to do this. It's really called networking. I'm calling it strategic networking. It's just a different approach. So you know the fan are like when you have it on high, you need clients. You're doing active things to attract new clients and to do the outreach. It's on high. I like to turn the fan off, but like Bill does not like fan off. He needs it on low. And if you put on low, then when you're full and you have plenty of clients, you should still be continuing to grow it. You can use an automated tool like Dripify that's really, it's not brash. It's not like cold outbound. It's just, hey, do you want to connect and let's join the network? Let's, whatever. And this passive mode then can continue to keep it warm. If you have a target audience, you can continue building that. And many people just want to connect. They don't want to talk to you right away. They want to wait to see what kind of content you create. So, any questions on what I've just talked about? Kind of a lot, but it's my summary of my view of this. So my goal is I want to help you grow your business and teach you how to be a community manager and how to do your own strategic networking. I just think that if you can get meetings and leads that come in that are really warm and qualified, it will give you confidence. This is a struggle. It's like, it's no different growing any other business, but every meeting is motivating and gives you hope. And so I argue that your next client is reading on LinkedIn. They're out there, they're looking. And if you can share your expertise, then they'll ask for a meeting. So they are finding you. And the last slide is I have this 30-day challenge to get you 1+ meetings. So I'm offering a one-on-one on 1 hour. And then I have a circle community, which is I call Growth Marketing Zone. I'm calling the office hours growth therapy sessions because that's what it gets to be some days, right? Like, oh, this is hard. I do messaging if it's Thursday night and you have a question, whatever. So other are super like, 450 round. I'm doing it 300 for the first month, and there's more, right? Like so more than the first month, but if you don't get it done in the first month and you want to stay on, then it's $25 each month for subscription, like monthly, and then you have the button to cancel yourself. That bugged me. I was paying $600 a month and I had to ask the person to stop it, and it's like icky. So you can have that. The ROI, like so for myself, if I'm somebody on the meeting and I can close them. I did close somebody in a half hour, at $5,000 a month, they're on a retainer. It's kind of easy to see the ROI. Plus you're learning this networking skill that
this is post. Maybe you want to copy the post and take it out, or you want to view it. So we can just click on it.
I already started my video. It's okay. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. That's my offer. And I'm excited because I know there's more people out there like Remy that, and Remy has a short testimonial from him, and he is willing to be a reference if you'd like. He's a CRO. Anyway, the community is at it's weird, learn.growthmarketing.zone, so that if you put that into your browser, that works. You can email me with questions, but do you have any questions about this?
Cheryl's good.
Sounds good. Was
So
that helpful?
yeah,
Okay.
I joined.
Does it?
Yeah, I join Connie at every growth therapy session as well. So you can ask any questions. I'm a CEO advisor, and I'm writing my next book, which is about CEO mistakes. So if you're a fractional business, you're working with CEOs, I can actually help you navigate those meetings, calls, prep for them, or anything like that, since that's the kind of work I do. Hopefully we can, two of us. And Connie's an expert, so she's been. Looks like we lost Jeff. He wants to come back in. Uh, I listened to how Connie has gone through this, and it's a pretty interesting situation for those who are fairly new to fractional work, and you start to execute this process. Every one of those calls are different than a job interview call. Every single call is different. There's none of this, oh, I got to talk to three other people before I make a decision, and then you sit around and wait and get ghosted. There's none of that. If there's a delay in actually closing a deal and they want to hire you, it might be because they have to go get budget once you give them your price, because we're all at different price ranges.
So yeah, and this is that so very few of my clients have immediately said, yeah, I'm going to sign on, it's a 3-month process. It's a sales cycle. So that's for me, the sales cycle is 2 to 3 months. And it's very typical for people that, they need to figure out where their budget's going to come from and how they're going to do it for that level. $300 or $500, they can credit card it, but for a retainer, it's bigger. So anyway, so Jason says, what are the biggest hurdles that you've seen amongst folks who have just started this process? It's mindset. Like, well, so I have an issue around sales. I don't have an issue, but I have just like, it's a block. And so when you have a block, you got to feel like what's bothering it. And so for outbound, my block was that my inbound works so good. Why would I want to do outbound? So that was my challenge there. In hiring someone else to do the copy paste for the outbound, solved that problem. Like, I love outbound. I'm having a good time with this now. So another issue, just that, well, this is dumb. Why am I doing this? And I do people fractionals over the last month, and there's some that don't want to learn. If you don't want to learn how to use LinkedIn or want to do it, then I can't help you with that. And if people just want to buy it, so many people, so as a marketer and probably as a salesperson, you hear this too. Don't you have the magic button? Where's the easy button? Right? Like, they want their leads served up on a silver platter. Well, that's fine, but those aren't good leads. If you go out and do it yourself and express yourself and learn from doing it, then, so for talking about email campaign that I had done, how good it worked last year. I don't want email jobs. Like, cold email is right now. And so I had to quit that. Like, so that you want to sell, what is it that you're good at? And because that's what people pick up on. And, it's like webbing out there. I think Jason, so like with Rami, he was a natural in his testimonial. He says, I just spend minutes a day writing about the things I already know about. But if you're a senior person and you go to an interview, you can express, the took, right? And the results. You can do those in little vignettes, and it's the same vignettes. The problem is you can't copy paste because someone has started a post. It has to be contextually relevant. I mean, it makes sense. And so but I think the hurdle is to just initially say, oh my God, how am I going to find these? Like, if you're, especially BSAS, like, I've got the fishing ponds. That's not a problem. And I will send you the posts that are for your offer to help you with that. And so then it's just a matter of being open, like I said, that serendipity thing. So first got a meeting request. I'm just saying, like, I've had others. This one person that just wanted to do strategy work could not make this connect because everybody, strategy and just important right now. So that might be another thing. If you just want high level strategy, you might have better with outbound, because people are just looking for somebody who can do both. So I don't know if that answers do you have more questions about that, Jason?
No, I think what if I can, if it sounds like it's the two things, it's clarity of what's your value that you bring. And then the second part is really the context, and that's really customer specific. And that is, bringing that context to the individuals who are engaging. Is that accurate?
My worksheet is case studies. You have case studies over projects that you've done, so you have those ready and think of it. I mean, it's like preparing for a job interview, right? Like, what your results, right? And having that ready. But then, yeah, I give examples, lots of examples to see about. So what's happened is that I will answer a question, and then I'll go back and make a piece of content, and I link from in the future, because this person repeats themselves, their content they repeat. I will then post back to that, post my comment link over to that piece of content I made on my LinkedIn profile with the whole list of how I do weekly webinars. And it's a funnel. Do you see what I mean? Like, people are creating in the comments. If you're in marketing, if you're in sales, but you guys know what funnels are too. So this is happening, and I can help you do that. And we can do with outbound. Everybody's like, oh, all these messages. If you write your message in a nice way, people will connect with you. So I can tell you about my funnel and outbound. I'm connecting to like 100 a week with me passively, and 5 to 10 will say, yeah, Connie, I want more information. Can we have a meeting? And so I have stats on that. Thank you, Julie.
So Connie, Leah had a few inches there about she's stuck at the cold outreach stage and never knows what to write in the LinkedIn email. Do you have any tips on this and how to make it engaging?
I do. Which you guys have experienced, right? Is like my latest one is, hey, I like connecting to fractionals, or I like to grow my network of fractionals. And I'm real. It's like I have a new unique way of doing this without creating tons of content. I think the thing in the outbound is to be short, concise, warm, and literally, I'm happy to meet separately. Who is this person, Bill?
Okay.
I'm happy to meet me separately. So anyway, other questions? We're doing really good. We haven't exhausted. Sometimes I talk a lot. And I get excited.
We're scheduled till 1:45, I think. So we're a couple of minutes past that, and some people have to leave. So I put in send Connie a LinkedIn or send her an email at the ConnieLund3@gmail, and she'll have a call. She'll provide answers to your questions, whatever you'd like. This is what she's focused half of her time on right now.
Yes, and it'll be a small group. We're not going to go over 10. So the goal is to have a small group where I can give you lots of personal attention to make this go. Work through any of the mindset issues, barriers that you don't even maybe are aware of, but try to help you inbound or outbound get your leads. My goal is 1 meeting a month in the first month for you. That's my goal. So
one of the things that we help with between, and the growth especially is a lot of fractionals when they first get going, even within the first year, they're still interested in maybe getting a full-time job if they were to be able to get an offer. And I know at least 1 or 2 people on here will like that. If you're going to make the move to fractional mindset shift completely, and I've been coaching Connie on that, and last year she got there. So you stop looking for jobs, you stop sending out your resume. She hasn't even updated her resume in a year and a half. There's no need to, except just to do it and take some of the clients that she get, they become the new vignettes. I made this transition myself in 2020 from being a full-time employee to doing, consulting work, and call myself a fractional. I don't position myself that way. I'm just a CEO advisor. So it's a little bit different than that. But still, there are clients. Most of my clients come from my book. I have a lead magnet built directly in my book. Then they can work with me through there. And my longest client's 2.5 years now from the book. But that just gives you an idea. But I try to help guide anyone that has any questions that kind of intersect with Connie's answers.
Yeah, and so I understand it took me off of the job hunt idea, and but you can make your LinkedIn profile. So that's the hard thing, right? Like, do you show yourself as a person looking for a job, or do you show yourself as a person that's doing fractional work? And even right now, so I'm trying to do this. And my LinkedIn appears as if the fractional. If I go to look for clients again, I'm gonna have to switch it back, and it's just a messaging thing. But you can do both. Works. It's energy in both directions. But anyway, but we're happy to, as Bill said, we're happy to help. We've been on this journey, both of us, and I resisted creating my own since 2008. People told me to sell workshops, and I didn't, but now it's good. It's been good. I've never been without a client, and I've always been able to refresh when I need. And it's actually, I mean, I just went and did the fishing, and you just I'm going to go do this. So, and it's, I know one of you said that you're nervous about it, but I'd give this a try, but I would give it a hard try. Like, do the inbound and outbound really, and do a sprint of 30 days or 90 days, 3 months. And so Bill told me I had to do here. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, he said, you've got to stay with this long enough to give it a good effort. That 3 months of trying and proving and putting your energy towards it is really important. So,
the
all right.
30-day challenge, 30 days because of what happened with Remy, but it actually worked extremely well.
It does work.
And it worked that way for Connie in the beginning, and it worked that way for Remy. And now that this is really the first public launch they've done, because she's had some beta testing for the last year with different ways to do this. And this is the first public launch of it. And
I've been refreshing my content and my examples and adding to that. And I believe in it. I wouldn't be here sitting here selling. I think Jason left, but sales is not my strength. So thank you all for sticking around. But we can set up a meeting. Let's talk if you have questions, more questions, if I can help you or Bill can help you. Let's talk about it. And so I told this person this morning, I see you here, but it's easier to get clients than it is to get a full-time job. And I've gotten lots of full-time jobs, but this is way easier. There's no competition. You don't have 1,499 other competitors. The meetings are I didn't include that. The meetings are so different. When you go to this meeting, whether it's warm by the time meeting, but they want to talk to you because of your LinkedIn profile. And when you know how it is when you go through a job screen, HR is like, how can we get rid of you? What about these gaps? And then you talk to the hiring manager. Well, I'm talking to a bunch of other people. And then they ghost you. So anyway, I'm pretty over that. Done. Like, this is my happy life. This is where I'm at. So if that's a small amount of encouragement, but seriously, when you go to that meeting, you'll come off and go, that was easy. Like, compared to the cycle, there's a cycle of employment where you have to really, really, really prove that you're the best and everything. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening.